I want to turn ROI, return on investment, on its head a little bit. I want to redefine ROI because you can spend all the money, you can go to university, you can get your bachelor's, you can get your master's, you can do all of the things. And trust me, I have worked with clients at all stages of their career, all levels of education, and they're not always getting the return on investment because they haven't paid attention to the return on intention. Welcome to the Love Your Work Life podcast, where you will get encouragement, strategies, all the things you need to love your work life. This is about transformational, strength-based coaching for career, for leadership, for life. I'm your host, Elissa Shuck. Let's get started. I've had something on my brain lately, and it's called ROI. And maybe you know about ROI. It stands for return on investment. I don't know if it's because I've been reading so many job descriptions lately with my clients, even in my past, as I think about my career in both product development and marketing. We were always talking about ROI. If we were going to create a new outsole for our product line, those things cost money. It's like $20,000 to open the molds for a new outsole design. So we had to figure out, are we going to get the return on that investment? How quickly are we going to sell enough shoes and then how quickly are we going to sell enough product to break even? And what is the outlook for massive profitability, massive return on investment? It was the same thing when I was in the candles and home decor business, designing product, working with my chemist to come up with new fragrances. One of my first assignments in that role was to design new glass for the core candle line. Expensive. And it's reasonable to think of ROI, return on investment, anytime you're spending money on yourself. What is the return for that course you just took? What is the return for higher education, for you investing in yourself that way? What is the return for coaching, for therapy, for all of the ways that you are investing in yourself to be your best self? But I want to turn ROI, return on investment, on its head a little bit. I want to redefine ROI. I'm now thinking of it as return on intention. Because you can spend all the money, you can go to university, you can get your bachelor's, you can get your master's, you can do all of the things. And trust me, I have worked with clients at all stages of their career, all levels of education, and they're not always getting the return on investment because they haven't paid attention to the return on intention. What is the purpose behind those investments? Are you thinking it through? Are you checking in to see if that investment aligns with your personal values, with what you believe you're meant to do in the world? Or are you just going along because it seems to be the thing to do? And then later you regret it because you didn't actually see the return. Or you're like a lot of people and you're part of that statistic that says 75% of people aren't actually working in an area related to their college degree. It's super interesting, isn't it? That's why I want to back it up. I want to talk about return on intention. To do that, I'm going to share a segment from a course inside Strategic Leadership Lab. This particular course is called Conscious Leadership for Culture Excellence. And I realize culture excellence is kind of a big umbrella, but listen, we've all worked in toxic workplaces and we know how that affects us. And until someone approaches leadership consciously, approaches culture excellence consciously, it's not going to be the best it can be. Maybe if you let it run on autopilot, it'll be okay, but more likely than not, autopilot turns into toxic, right? Because you can't have a garden or a fish aquarium and just let those things go, let them do their things. I think I once referred to a toxic environment as a stagnant, stinking aquarium, because that's what happens. If you don't use the right filters, if you don't use the right food, if you don't clean the tank, if you don't maintain, if you don't have an intention to keep that environment healthy and thriving, then it's not going to. So in this course, Conscious Leadership for Culture Excellence, there's a module called Setting Your Culture Intention. And so I'm going to share a little bit from that course because it's such an interactive experience, that particular module in that course. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm asking questions and I'm suggesting that my students answer those questions for themselves. And my friend, you can do the same thing. You may not have the worksheet. You may not have the cute little timer with the music going, telling you how long you have. But I want you to set an intention. And if you're a leader, this is absolutely going to help you, but you don't need to be a leader to use these question prompts to help yourself become more aligned with you. Because if you're feeling like you're in a job that doesn't fit, your first step to finding something new, to figuring out how to get unstuck, to getting any kind of a vision of what might be next, is to set the intention for it. So enjoy this snippet from Setting Your Culture Intention inside Strategic Leadership Lab, inside the course Conscious Leadership for Culture Excellence. Enjoy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read these questions to you, and then I'm going to give you, depending on the question, 90 seconds to maybe 2.5 minutes to answer the question. So be sure to have your worksheet available, a pen handy, and handwrite out your responses to each one of these questions. Let's get started with the first one. Ask yourself this: in what ways am I being reactive rather than intentional? Where can I pause more and choose consciously? I hope you came up with a great introspective, honest response to that question too. Because here is the reality. You cannot be reactive and intentional at the same time. If you're doing one, you're not doing the other. And we've all worked for reactive leaders in our world, and it's never fun. I don't want you to be that kind of a leader. So look at those moments. Think about the circumstances that you encounter with your team on a regular basis, and look for those spots where you can pause and choose consciously and intentionally how you want to respond in those situations. Here's the second question. What is the deeper purpose behind the work I do and the way I lead others? Did you figure out the deeper purpose? Did you figure out that it might not just be about results? It might be about something else. Our deeper purpose is something that you could describe as simple as being a beneficial presence in the world. One of the deeper purposes behind the work I did as a leader was I wanted to help people achieve their full potential. With that as a deeper purpose and an underlying motivation, it's amazing how that starts to create a filter through which all of your actions, you're encountering a challenging situation, and if your underlying purpose, your deeper purpose is to help someone achieve their full potential, you're going to respond differently. All right, now the final question. What legacy am I creating now? Are you creating an intentional legacy, or are you letting it all just happen unintentionally? Are you just going with the flow instead of leaning into the flow? Ooh, such a powerful metaphor. All right, let's go on to the next question. Ask yourself, where am I compromising my inner truth in favor of performance or approval? Ooh, this one's a biggie. If you're like me, you've probably on a journey of not being a people pleaser. And this is such a great question because sometimes when you are performing for someone or when you're just seeking the approval of others, you start to compromise your inner truth. Those were just a few out of 16 questions in that module. We go deep. And I encourage you to re-listen to this. If you listened in the car or something, obviously you couldn't write anything down, but hopefully it got the wheels turning a little bit. Come back to this episode. Be sure to get introspective, to be honest with yourself. And my friend, simply asking the questions and pondering is setting an intention. You may have heard the quote, where attention goes, energy flows. It's a true statement. It's physics, but it's also brain physiology, right? It's our reticular activating system that wherever we put our attention and energy, that's what we get back. And intention is the precursor to attention and energy flow. Think of intention as the conscious choice to align your thoughts, actions, and energy with your highest self. That could be your highest self as a leader. That could be your highest self as an individual contributor. It could be your highest self as someone who really wants to make a difference at work, to use your gifts. Intention is this gentle yet powerful undertone that keeps you centered, keeps you focused, and ensures you achieve your goals. It's that little check-in. As soon as you set your intention and you start veering away from it, your intuition is going to tell you. But intention isn't just about goal achievement. It's about the quality of your presence here on this planet and the direction of your inner compass. Intention helps you stay true to yourself. Intention invites you to be deliberate about how you show up in the world, how you relate to others, how you nurture your connection with your purpose and your own inner wisdom about what's best for you. When you leverage intention, you can create an ecosystem inside of a workplace. You can manage the own ecosystem of your soul to create great results because it's a natural byproduct of you living in intention, of you thriving where you are and where you want to go. If you want to go deeper into this with all of the questions, then of course, I invite you to check out Strategic Leadership Lab. You actually get a free trial for that. You can sample 2 courses that are in there, this one being one of them. I really do hope you check it out. All right, my friends. ROI, return on intention. I'll talk to you again soon. If you like listening to this podcast, I invite you to visit the Love Your Work Life website at elissashuck-careercoach.com. On the site, you're going to find free resources and information about all of my coaching programs, everything you need to land a great job, advance your career, and lead and build an awesome team. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, and don't forget to follow me on LinkedIn.